Hello, my name is Kelly, also known as Roro and Kids, and today we're going to talk about my Make 9 from last year and how I got on with it. Yeah. So, for those of you who don't know, a Make 9 is 9 knitting patterns that you pick out for like yourself. I'm going to sneeze. Oh, sorry. So you pick out these 9 patterns that you really want to make, and then over the year you try to make them. I can't remember how I got on with 2022, but I know there was a couple of things I didn't finish and I took them off the list. Oh, I'm sorry. And some things got moved from 2022 to 2023. I can't remember what. I know one of them was the Rococo jumper. I'll pop up anything else on the screen that was transferred over if there was. This year, pretty much the same. I actually didn't realise I'd knitted as much off the Make 9 than I actually did. I thought I'd only knitted 2 things. I thought I'd made the Teasel Socks and the Ranunculus, but it turns out I have actually done more than that. So we'll get to it. First, oh dear. First, I'm going to talk you through my Make 9 from last year. So I'm going to do this and pop it up on the screen so you can see it. So we'll start in the top left corner up here. So top left would be, that's the Teasel Socks by Jane Burns. The middle of that one is the Catskill Fingerless Mittens by Amanda Tozzi, and on the end of that top row is the VBU Te by Jamie Hoffman. Underneath the Teasel Socks is the Ranunculus by Midori Hirose. In the middle is Exploration Station by Stephen West, and the far end of that middle section is Adventitious by Olga Putano. And then in the bottom row on the left, we've got the Sakar Beanie by Elise Lico. The middle is Rococo by Suri Nordland. And on the very end is Volturi Palace Socks by Rachel Coopy. So, I did do more than I thought. I really thought I'd only done 2 of those. I've actually done, let me just have a look. I've actually worked on 6 of those patterns out of the 9, so there's only 3 that I haven't touched. So I'm happy with that. Doesn't mean I've finished them all though, but I'm going to talk you through. We'll go in the same order as how I've just told you. So we're going to start with the Teasel Socks. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit bunged up. I've been sneezing and I am a little bit bunged up. So I'm going to sound a little bit snuffly, I do apologise. It's freezing cold and horrible outside and I'm not enjoying the weather. Anyway, Teasel Socks. So these are a sock by Jane Burns Designs, or Jane Burns Yarniverse. It's an old pattern. I'm not entirely sure how old it is. It comes in 2 sizes and it is a cuff down heel flap and gusset pattern. So this is them. Now I do have 2 and I did finish them this week. So I originally cast these on in April according to my Ravelry, and they've taken me until now to finish them. I literally finished them this week, that's why this one's still on the blocking pad. Blocking sock blocker, same thing. So the reason they took me so long is because it's just, this lace is like a tricky lace. You do have to watch your chart. It didn't go into my head whatsoever. I had to watch the chart, and it's a lace. You work lace, can't think of words. You work lace every row. There's no like let up where you just get a knit row and a chill. There is no chill. It is lace every time. Saying that, it's well worth it. They're absolutely beautiful. So if you like doing lace and you want something a little bit spicy, then this is the one for you. I'm going to turn it that way so it's the right way up. And you can see that lace there. So I used for these, it's a Skein and the Stitch. So every year Skein and the Stitch does like a club, a sock club, where you can get a yarn and it's like a mystery, and she'll put out a graphic that it's going to be like. And not last year but the year before she did Titans. So and there was a fair few Titans. Some of them I'm gutted that I missed, but I did get 2 of the Titans, and this was, I think, the first Titan, which was Tethis, and it's just this gorgeous green and beige. It's just beautiful. So yeah, if you can see the colours in it there in the stock and stitch section. It's a beautiful, beautiful yarn. So yes, my Teasel Socks are done. I will talk about these properly as well in my podcast next episode, because I have just finished them. But they are lovely. Now, Matthew from Fairy Godfather Knits said that he really liked that I called them spicy, and that I should have how many peppers they are for how spicy the lace is. Out of 5 peppers, I would definitely give this a 5, because you have to watch that chart. It's not easy to read, and it doesn't give you a let off. However, if you, like I've said, if you like working lace, and I really do, lace is definitely my thing, then you will enjoy making these. But just be prepared for them to take several months. You haven't got a lot of time. But yeah, they are beautiful. So that is my first Make 9. It wasn't the first one I finished, obviously, but it is a finished Make 9, so I can do a tick in the box. I'm gonna have a little drink of tea just to see if that helps my throat. I'm drinking biscuit brew tea from Yorkshire Tea in my chipped daughter mug, because I like the mug, I like the shape of it, and things get chipped. If it was good enough for Belle and Cinderella, no. If it was good enough for Belle and Sleeping Beauty, it's good enough for me. Right, so my second finished Make 9 was actually the next one along. I do tend to try and go along the row if I can. So this is the Catskill Fingerless Mittens by Amanda Tozzi, also known as Cuddle Bunny Knits. And that is these. Now, if you watch my podcast, you will know that these beauties took a dive in a public toilet. They have been washed since, otherwise they would not be sliding onto my hand right now. I'm going to pull my sleeves up and show you these. So this pattern is only in one size. Let me show you it first. So it only comes in one size. It's also written for DPNs. I don't really use DPNs, I'm more of a magic loop person, but the pattern is written for DPNs, so I did use DPNs, but they fly off the needles. They're knitted in a worsted weight yarn. I use Malabrigo Rios, which Amanda Tozzi, who designed the pattern, actually gave to me for my birthday. I can't remember the name of the, is it Niebla? It means fog in Spanish. I don't know how you pronounce it. But it's this beautiful beige and grey type colourway. I love it. It's beautiful. So these are cuff to tip, fingertip. The cast on at the cuff there, it is a double 2x2 rib, and then you get this pearled pattern with just the hole for the thumb. You could put a thumb in there if you knew what you were doing and you fancied it, but I kind of just liked them like this, and then I can use all my fingers. That said, they're not warm enough for me to wear them at the minute. They're more of a spring autumn glove. So they're just keeping the majority of your hand warm, but you can still use your fingers. They are nice and long though. which I like, and they're long down here, so I do really like all that about them. Yeah, so they do, yes, they only come in one size. I think it would be pretty easy to adapt if you needed smaller or larger though. But I'm like, I always think that my hands are like an average type size. They're not small, but they're not, like they're a medium. You know, if I buy gloves, I buy a medium. I think they're just like a average size hand. So they would probably fit the majority of people. But some people I completely get, you need to go bigger or smaller. But I do think that you would be able to adapt these. But yeah, so that is the Catskill Fingerless Mittens by Amanda Tozzi, also known as Cuddle Bunny Knits. I always go to call her Cuddle Buddy and I don't know why. Yeah, and I love them. So that was number 2 of my Make 9, which I can tick off. Ta-ding. Proud. Right. Now we head along to, what was next on my list? Where's my list gone? Oh, that's a good start, Menzies. What have I done with my list? So, the next one on the list was the VBU Te by Jamie Hoffman. Okay, so if you watch my podcast, you will know already what happened with the VBU Te. If you don't watch my podcast, here we go. Are you ready for this? So, the VBU Te is one that I've been wanting to work on for a long time. And I finally cast it on this year with some beautiful yarn from Cookston Crafts that I'd bought at a yarn show that's almost 2 years ago now. It was in May 2022. I bought this yarn specifically to knit the VBU Te, and I was really excited to start, and I did, and I cast it on and I got all this done. So that is the body, and it's been screwed up in a bag, but that is the body, and the the body is done. I was literally cast off and everything. It was waiting for me to do the sleeves. However, the way that the VBU Te is written is you have to learn the names of the markers that you've got in, and I kind of didn't, which is to my detriment. But in the early stages, I kind of didn't know which marker was which. And there is decreases at the tops of the sleeves. But because I was just knitting in a circle, because it's a raglan, well, it's not, it's a yoke, sorry. It's a yoke sweater, so you're knitting in a circle. Hang on, right. So the VBU Te is top down. So you're knitting in a circle and you've got all these markers placed, and each marker has a different name rather than numbered or anything like that. And the name kind of, it's like right side marker, beginning of round marker, there's another marker which is possibly just called marker. I'm not 100%, I can't remember because this is a while back when I did this. It was like summer. But I found the marker names confusing, and I didn't know where I was in the yoke as I was knitting it. Even though you've got the V coming in, I just kind of didn't really know where I was. And there's a series of decreases that happen that once it's finished are across the top of the sleeves. But the way I read it, I did all my decreases in one sleeve because I'd got my markers mixed up, and I read it incorrectly. That's all on me what I did. I read it incorrectly. It's not the pattern, it's just... So one of my sleeves looks like this across the top, but the other one looks like this across the top. Where are you? There. and I have this awful bunched up section. Now in my head when I was knitting this, I thought that was in the back. And I didn't like it, but I was like, trust the process. It's not in the back, it's on the sleeve. And as a result, I get this like lump here for the sleeves to go in. The other sleeve obviously doesn't have it. I didn't discover this until I'd cast off and went to pick up the stitches for the sleeve, and luckily I went to pick up the stitches on this one with the dodgy decreases rather than the other one, because otherwise I would have knitted all of that and then I would have come to this one and seen it. So I was lucky that I'd went to pick up stitches on this particular sleeve that had all these mad decreases in. So I was really upset, and I was thinking, oh, I'm going to have to pull out all that body and the majority of the lace, because it's literally this far from the top. So I would have had to pull it back up to so that the top was just this size here. So that really disheartened me. Really wasn't up for that. And then I thought, you know what, just try it on and see what you think of it first before you like commit to pulling it out. So tried it on and realised that I really didn't like a lot of things about it. So the VBU Te is, like I said, it's knitted top down, and you have this constant like thing to do in the middle to make this pull down. So you're constantly reacting every other round to pull this down. So you never just sitting doing stocking stitch, but you don't get bored because you've always got something to do. So it's kind of like a double-edged sword, because you don't get that relaxing stocking stitch from it, but you are busy and just, you know, keeping your brain entertained. Now, it gets to a point where you have to counteract, because that's going to dip lower and you'll end up with a V front. You'll have a big V at the front of your top if you don't counteract that. So to counteract it, Jamie Hoffman puts in short rows. Perfect, that's fine. However, my short rows, and I have noticed this in some of the Ravelry projects that I've looked at since, my short rows end in this lump here, which is quite difficult to show on camera, but I do basically, if you look at it like this, you can see that there's a bit of a lump there. It's really hard to show you, but I do get this like nipply bit, and I get it on either side. I have one here as well where the short rows ended. I don't know whether that's my fault. There it is. I don't know if that's my fault, if it's the pattern fault. I honestly don't know what that is all about, but I did get that. The other thing I don't like is that she explains in the pattern how to blend and everything, which is brilliant, how to blend your colours, and I followed her instructions on blending my colours and when, and I did all that, and I love that. That's the, obviously it's the V back, so that's the front. That's the front, if that's the part without the V, because you can wear it either way. So the part with the V, when it comes to changing the colours, because of the short rows, that final colour isn't blended on that side because the short rows stop it from happening. So it's kind of just like it ends, and I really don't like that. I really don't like that. And I have also noticed that on other Ravelry projects, it's not just me, that you don't get that blending of the colours. It's just like right now there's a definite stripe, but everywhere else it's blended. So that, I didn't like that about it. So basically my VBU Te was knitted, I knitted it pretty quickly for a tea and for me. But it's been sitting in the naughty corner for months and I need to frog it. The yarn is stunning and I really don't want to let it go to waste. However, there's a ton of ends because of the way that you blend certain things. Like there's literally one-off stripes of things, and yeah, it's just, I don't know, I'm really gutted. I feel like I've ruined the yarn, and the top looked terrible on me as well. It really did look awful. The yarn that I used, like I said, it was Cookston Crafts, who I love. And the 3 colours I used was Briana's Gown, which is the top one. Knits up like this. I then used Rufus, which was in the middle. And that knits up like, trying to stop things falling off, Minnie. That knits up like this. Show you that way, shouldn't I? And then finally I used Claire Fraiser. Which knits up like this. I absolutely love all 3 of the yarns. I really don't want them to go to waste, but I do need to rip this out and do something else with it, and it's just been in the naughty corner. Sorry, my dog started barking. Yes, it's just been in the naughty corner. I need to frog it, and I have to leave it out and do that. So that was my VBU Te. Now, I have to say, that is my personal story of the VBU Te. There's loads of projects, and Jamie Hoffman has obviously worked very hard on the pattern because the pattern is very extensive. There's loads of sizes. There's loads of like explanations of how to blend in your colours and when to, like from having 2 colours to 6 colours and things like that. It's like, it's a really good pattern. It just, I don't like some aspects of it. If you do, please knit it. I'm not saying don't knit this pattern, it's absolute rubbish at all. It's not a rubbish pattern, it's just I don't like some of the aspects of it. For me personally, it didn't sit right on me, and I didn't like that about it. So it was just unfortunate. It was really, really unfortunate. But that is what happened. The story of my VBU Te. I need tea after that. My tea's gone cold, it's not so good. Okay, so next on the list is the Ranunculus by Midori Hirose, which I think every man and his dog has knit now, but and I think it was at the time. But this is mine. So I did knit this, and it still isn't blocked. So when I finished this, we had just got a new kitten. It is now, the kitten is 7 months old today. Happy interim birthday to Fion. I don't know where she is, up to no good somewhere. I didn't expect that 5 months later I still wouldn't be able to block things, because she will not leave stuff alone. However, I do have an idea, because I was thinking today I'm going to be talking about that Ranunculus and I still haven't blocked it. But I was looking around my house today and I was thinking, do you know what, I could maybe like stick it up there, she can't get up there, and like on top of my wardrobe and things like that, and hope it dries up there. I mean, heat rises, doesn't it? So there's a strong possibility it'd probably be better for it up there. But at the minute it's still unblocked, so it hasn't actually been worn, because it does need a blocking. It's got creases and things in it. But anyway, I digress once again. Here is my Ranunculus. So, what what can I tell you about my Ranunculus? That's quite hard to say, you know. I couldn't get gauge on Ranunculus. I did. I can't remember what the gauge is now. But whatever. Whatever the pattern gauge is, I couldn't get it without having a material that was really gapey and I just didn't like. So what I did was I got a gauge where I liked the fabric and then I worked out what size I should do. So I think I wanted it to be loose and baggy and I was going to do like the size 5 or something, and I ended up doing the size 8 or something like that because of my gauge. I can't properly remember, but that is what happened. I didn't get the gauge of the pattern. I just worked out what the gauge that I was getting, what size I should do to get this like oversized Ranunculus, and that is what I got. I knitted it double-stranded. I used Truly Hooked Hosta. I have none of it to show you, but Truly Hooked Hosta, which is like this pink with white and little bits of yellows and dark purples, and I got the sparkle base one, and I also got Truly Hooked Hosta in a Alpaca Suri lace weight, which was to die for. I had 2 skeins of each, which I got from Yarndale in 2022 with the intention of making Ranunculus. But I did run out of the Suri. I didn't run out of the Hosta, the Merino, but I did run out of the Suri. I'm going to show you close up what it looks like. So you can still see the sparkle in there, and it's got that lovely layer of floof as well. So I love it. I really want to wear it. I just need to get it blocked. So I did run out of Suri, and I run out. So what I did, I knitted the body until I was happy minus the rib, and then I knit the sleeves until I run out of Suri. So I was kind of like switching between and knitting each sleeves until I run out of Suri. Once I run out of Suri, I was like, right. Then I ordered some, was it kid silk? No, I can't remember. It was a drops mohair that I ordered. I'll pop it on screen what it was. But it was a drops mohair that I ordered in like a light lilac colour, and it was obviously the Suri and the Hosta had like other pops of colour in them, because they were, I say the Hosta, the Suri and the Merino, they were based on this Hosta colourway, so they had pops of colour in them, whereas the lilac drops didn't. It was just lilac. But I knitted, most you can tell is on the bottom rib, and it was just a slight shade, I don't know what you can see there, a slight shade darker than the rest of the body. It's barely noticeable. And then the same with the I-cord edging. I think one of the sleeves has a slight amount of mohair in it rather than the Suri, but yeah, it's just a slight shade darker than the rest, and you can barely notice. So I absolutely loved it. Now I know loads of people knit this again and again and again, and I don't think that I would. It was alright, but it was just a yoke sweater. I did say this in my podcast at the time, I don't really get why people knit it over and over again. Maybe it's because it's just, I don't know. I honestly, I don't know. Maybe because you can do it in all the different sizes or whatever. Like you can use finger and weight, or you can use worsted or whatever. Maybe that's part of the draw. I'm not 100%, but I do know that that personally I doubt very much that I would knit another one. There's too many things to knit in the world to knit the same jumper a few times. So yeah, but I'm not saying I don't like it. I do like it. I really want to get it worn. I just need to be able to block it. Looking at it now though, maybe it doesn't need blocking as much as I thought it did. I might just start wearing it. I was a bit frightened to block it, to be fair, because of the Suri. I didn't want it to shrink, so fold it up. You can see the pattern a bit better when it's folded up like that. But yeah, so that was my Ranunculus. Yeah, exploration station was next. I've been wanting to knit this shawl for I don't even know how long, good few years. I already own the pattern. I'd bought it in one of his birthday sales a couple of years ago, but I've just never got around to doing it. I do now have all the yarns that I want to make it with. I've bought extras from different yarn shows, and it's going to be like a purple and grey type, if I can remember rightly, purple and cream. But I just need to get it cast on. So I think that the exploration station is going to be one of the ones that gets forwarded onto next year's Make 9. I actually haven't planned my Make 9 yet, but I do have some ideas. So, and I think that's going to be one that carries over, because I really do want to knit it. It looks so fun to knit. So yes, exploration station was a fat no last year, but it doesn't mean it's never going to get done. Next is the Adventitious by Olga Putano. Right, bear with me, it's going to be crinkly. So a couple of years ago, my mum bought me all of this yarn, Debbie Bliss Rialto, but it is lace weight. It's not something that I ever really use. And I looked and looked for patterns for lace, for something lace weight, and came across the Adventitious. At the time I didn't even know how to say that word. I was really confused. And some regular viewers taught me how, so thank you very much. They explained to me how to say that word. But this is a lace weight top, and it's also a little bit tricky because you've got to watch the chart. And I haven't picked it up in ages, and this is all I've done. So, I mean, I didn't want to do a shawl in lace weight. There we go. So, I haven't done much on it at all. It kind of takes a bit more concentration than I wanted it to, and it's gonna take forever. And I think I knew at the time that it was gonna take forever, but I think it'd be such a lovely lightweight jumper. I do want to persevere with it. I don't want to pull it out just yet. I have no idea where I am in the pattern. I don't think I've made a note, so that's clever of me. But yeah, it's just one of them. It's like, if you like lace weight and you have done sweaters before, jumpers in it, you'll be fine. But I'm just taking forever. I'm knitting it on a 3.25mm, which is a US 3. And yeah, it's just slow. It's slow. But that could purely be me. I mean, I've got so much to do. But, and it is bottom up, as you can see. It is a bottom up sweater jumper. I don't know why I keep saying sweater, because I don't say sweater. It's a bottom up jumper. I just need to crack on with it, really. I probably am going to move it into next year's Make 9, because if I take it off the Make 9, it's never going to happen. So at least if it's in the Make 9, it'll keep nagging at me and going, that's in your Make 9, you know you need to pick it up. So I think that's what I'm going to do. And I am excited to see it get bigger. I just think it's going to be on my Make 9 for about 5 years. My mum she doesn't understand yarn and things. She used to be a knitter years ago, but in the 80s where everyone just bought acrylic. So she doesn't properly understand the whole thing about yarn. she bought me that yarn, and then when I didn't use it straight away, she was like, I'm not buying you any more yarn, you haven't even used what I've given you. So she kind of didn't, she doesn't understand that concept. And part of the reason I wanted to cast that on was to show her that I am going to use it, because I think she just gets like, well, you're not even going to use that, so what's the point? So she doesn't understand the concept of a stash. So I cast that on because I was like, right, I need to show her, and I have showed her, so she knows that it's in progress. So at least that is knocked off the list of, like, my mother needs to see that that is getting worked on. And it is. I do know that I could have held that double, and I do know that I could have held it with something else. I just didn't want to. I kind of wanted to push myself out of that comfort zone and do some knitting with lace. I might be slightly regretting that teeny bit, but I also really want that top because it looks lovely, and it looks like it'll just feel light as a feather on your body. It's just how long it's going to take me. It's going to take me an age. Next on the list is the Sakar Beanie by Elise Lico. This is, I'm going to do this so you can see what I'm talking about. This is a worsted weight hat that has brioche as the brim, and I love how it looks. I love her colours and everything. And I really wanted to just do it just so I could have another go at brioche, because the only brioche I've ever done is in the shawlography, and it was only like a section like this. And although in Elise's beanie it's only a section like this, it's just that little bit of extra practice, isn't it? But I just haven't got around to doing it. I don't have the yarn set aside for it, which is probably part of the reason. I need to buy yarn for this hat. Worsted is not something that I just have. So that's probably part of the reason, and I do really want to do it, but I'm not sure if I'm going to move it to this year's Make 9. But I will do that hat one day because I really like it. Oh, the next one is the Rococo by Sari Nordland. So me and the Rococo, we're not the best of friends. I was actually bought the pattern by a viewer, thank you again, a long time ago. She might not even watch this podcast anymore, I've no idea. But she did buy me that pattern, and it's been in my Make 9 for 2 years, and it's going into this next one. I've really struggled to find yarn for it that gives me the correct gauge that's in the pattern, and with it being quite a complicated yoke, I don't really want to mess about with the gauge. I just want to get the gauge that she tells you to get and just go. I ended up biting the bullet last year and just buying some yarn for it, which I'm not going to show you right now, because it is getting moved to this year's Make 9. I'm determined to do the Rococo this year. So I'm going to get that moved across again. But I have the yarn now. I don't know if I can get gauge on it, but I've decided that I'm going to get as close to as I possibly can and just go for it. I just love the jumper so much. I just want to be able to knit it. So this year, this is the year of the Rococo. It's going to happen. Okay. So finally is the Volturi Palace Socks by Rachel Coopy. Where have they gone? Oh, they're here. Rococo Palace Socks by Rachel Coopy. These have been on my Ravelry queue for years and years and years. I don't even know, 10 years maybe? I don't know how old the pattern is. A long time they've been on my Ravelry queue. And I decided to stick them on my Make 9 last year to push me into knitting them. And then I did a tiny little bit and then got stuck with other things and never went back. But this last week I've gone back because I'm determined to get these done. And I actually hit the leg section yesterday, their toe. as I hit the leg section yesterday. Woohoo! So the Volturi socks are based on the Volturi Palace socks. They're based on the palace where the really old vampires live in the Twilight Saga. There's some really old nasty vampires who live in this big palace in Italy, and that is what these socks are based on. They are taupe and they do have a little bit of colour work in them, and I liked that about them. And then they've got this like fancy front, which can actually be a little bit tricky in parts. So they remind me of an ice cream, how they start with the little drips, but they start like this, and then they have this beautiful, let me stick the hand in, this beautiful lace and cable pattern. I love that. And then this little lacy lace and cable bit, and the twisted knit stitches going up either side of it. It is a Flegel heel, but she does it in a weird way. And I've actually, Flegel heel is an amazing taupe heel. I can't put them down. The Flegel heel is an amazing taupe heel that causes no holes at the side, but the way that she's done it, it does actually, it could cause a hole. So I haven't got a hole in the side, I've just checked, but I've had to like pick up extra stitches and make sure there was no hole, whereas the Flegel heel you don't actually normally have to do that. So she's done it strange. But I don't mind it. It's still nice. She's done the slip stitch rib on the heel, and yeah, it just looks like a normal heel for Gusset, really. The Flegel heel, it's lovely. It is my go-to taupe heel for definite. So yeah, the colour work is coming up here in the cuff. It's just like a checkered colour work, and then ribs, you'll be able to see it in the picture. Really happy. That is the only one though. I haven't knitted the other. So I'm not going to actually move them onto my Make 9 because now they're so established, I'll just get them done. They're actually knitted on a 2.5mm needle, which a US 2, I think. Possibly a 1, I can't remember off the top of my head. I will let you know. I am knitting these in a mini from a Botanical Yarn Winter Solstice set. Winter Solstice Advent. It's just like this minty, spearminty green. Love it, love it. And I'm also using, is it the name that I'm thinking is? Right, I'm also using this by Nervous Fibre, who I love. I love Nervous Fibre's colours. This is called Haar, Haar, which I believe is a fog. I want to say it's a fog coming off the sea, but I don't know whether I'm making that up. I will put it on the screen if I am making it up, or if I'm right, I won't bother putting anything on the screen. If I'm wrong, I will put the correction up. But yes, Haar, H-H-H-R. Oh, it's just beautiful, and they both knit up so lovely. I'll show you the stocking stitch. So I'm really pleased with those and how they're going. I'm not going to lie, I've done most of that this week, considering they were Make 9 from last year. I picked them up and I had the toe done and maybe one pattern repeat. So, but that is it for my Make 9. It's not as bad as I expected it to be. It's really not. I've done a lot more than I thought I had. I thought I'd literally knitted the Teasel Socks and the Ranunculus, but I haven't. I've got other things done. I forgot about my gloves, and I'd forgotten that I'd cast on Adventitious, and obviously the Volturi Palace socks are coming along. So what's that? That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What was the 6th one then? Because I said 6 earlier, didn't I? Oh, the VBU Te, the disaster of the VBU Te. So yeah, I wasted a load of time on that as well. So I have done all right with my Make 9 this year. I'm going to be back in 2 weeks with my Make 9 plans for this year, which, spoiler alert, will have Exploration Station and Adventitious on there, and Rococo. So you already know 3 of the 9. However, the other 6, I don't even know yet. So you can't make me tell you. But that is it. So that is how I got on with my Make 9 last year. Let me know in the comments below if you plan a Make 9, and if you do, then how you got on, or if it's like a new thing to you. Just tell me, talk to me. Right, I'm gonna go. I will see you in the next one. Have a lovely rest of your day, and just a little reminder to give the video a little thumbs up down there somewhere, and then give it a subscribe if you can, if you haven't subscribed already, because I'd love to have you back. I realise that a lot of people watch these on TVs and you can't like or subscribe. Well, you can subscribe, but it's a bit of a faff, isn't it, from the telly? So yeah, just like what I do is I like, just a little tip. When I finish watching someone, I grab my phone and just find the video in my history and just give it a little thumbs up. So yeah, just, you know, every little helps. Thanks very much. I will see you in the next one. Next episode, you'll see a couple of these things that you've just seen because I've been working on them. But there is some other stuff too. So yeah, I've already said have a lovely rest of your day. But do it. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.